Welcome to the live stream chat. I can already see great questions are rolling out, all of them. Are we in a bear market? What's the best exit strategy on Kaspa? Even can Kaspa hit $2 by 2025? All of these questions and so much more is going to be unveiled as we break down the secret sauce that Satoshi weaved into Bitcoin. Now, to understand this, first we have to realize the majority of crypto investors, they don't understand the secret sauce. They're not utilizing it to trade. On this channel, over the past 400 days, from knowing what we're about to break down in segments, in details, all the way to what Satoshi's vision was, how he changed the halving, everything like this, this secret will completely change your future as traders just from watching this video. And this rabbit hole goes so deep. There's people who go to Harvard just to study this secret that we're showing you and how to utilize it in your everyday trading. So what are some of the common misconceptions? For one, people are like, well, it's the Bitcoin halving. That's got to be what's making it have these meteoric rises to the upside. That's part of it. That's part of the equation. That restricts the supply, but it's not the full scope. Well, what about the technology? It's this innovative tech. They're challenging Swift credit card systems. They're coming up with a new way to transact. They can jump over borders. It's great tech. That's only part of it. When Satoshi put this all together, he had the help of an expert. We're talking a Harvard graduate, Alan Greenspan. The only guy online that you can find that could be connected with Satoshi, which may very well be a team of professionals, is Alan Greenspan. Even ChatGPT hints him. He's the former head of the FOMC. Somebody with vast understanding of macroeconomics weave this secret sauce into Bitcoin, which helps it shoot to the upside, which has helped it absorb fiat currency like a sponge. And guess what? Kaspa's showing some of the exact same trends. That's how 400 some odd days ago, a day trader, and I'm going to break this down to you, this secret, starting as a day trader, a quick 5-minute tutorial on how this secret sauce, this secret implemented into day trading gives people the edge they need. Taken over into cryptocurrency, we immediately recognize Kaspa was going to absorb a load of fiat currency from knowing this. You guys have probably seen that movie about GameStop. That meteoric rise, that super rocket ship to the upside, guess what was actually behind it? They give so much more credit to the fact that it was a short squeeze. That was part of it. But this secret sauce that we're going to show you right now, that's kind of in the shadows, sort of behind closed doors, but without a doubt, as we'll see, woven into the way that Bitcoin works. And Kaspa's been showing a lot of reaction to it. This drove GameStop through the roof. The short squeeze was just a part of the equation, a lot like the halving on Bitcoin. So what is this secret and how do we break it down? What is behind Bitcoin's aggressive takeover of fiat money? Notice how the FOMC meeting is coming up in 10 days, and Powell is set to cut rates. Last cycle, we're talking 4 years ago, that was the last time Powell did rate cuts. There's a 45-day difference on when Powell's cutting rates, getting ready to create a bull-on market. To show you guys how that works on this chart, this is the 1-year bond chart. When Powell cuts rates, that reduces the yield that people will get on bonds. And this is only part of this rabbit hole. This is going to go way deeper with new charts, with new 4-year cycles that's controlling this bond market. This is how genius Satoshi was. So what's going on right now, they're paying 5%. Powell's going to step up and he's going to cut those rate back. So what will happen is these bonds won't pay 5%. So you have 20 million, you're getting $1 million a year, and that's compound interest. There's a 4-year cycle. Right here, we can see February of 2020, last cycle, 4 years ago. Powell's cutting rates. Right when the rates go down to 0, 1 year later, exactly. Look what happens. February of 2021. This is the genius of Satoshi. The halving, the code, the ASICs, that's all part of the puzzle pieces. But the mastermind behind it was connecting it to the global liquidity markets, which are tied to the bonds. That's a rabbit hole that you could study for 8 years continuously. Look at right here. Right when it bounces off 58.5, that's February 2021. That's 1 year after the bonds go to 0. So this giant pile of cash we're sitting on right now, plus yield, is waiting to get unlocked. This is a 1-year bond 1 year later. So as Powell gets up there and cuts rates, we want to see him bring it all the way back down to 0. We want to see one of these cliff dive drop-offs. Therefore, no more money is going into bonds. Money will go into risk-on assets. And all of this unlock plus the yield, it's going to be 2.5 times the size of the last bull market, plus popularity. So all the market makers were doing maybe 10%, just to throw a number out there, of their portfolio into crypto. They're going to do at least 15 or 20, plus there's 2.5 times more cash ready. Here's the real secret chart right here. The global liquidity cycle. This is a 4-year. What we're seeing right here is 5.5-year wax on, wane right here, up and down. So basically a 4-year cycle. And you can see the 2018 lows. This is the last market top. Right now, we're at a global liquidity cycle, meaning all the money is tied up into the bond market. This rabbit hole goes way deeper. Let me show you what was happening inside VIP. We knew back here, August 19th earlier, on August 28th, the Fed would do a final auction round at 5.5%. Obviously, you're Jane and Jump Street. You're a market maker. You've got a chance to get 5% yield, and this is the last time. They're buying those bonds hand over fist. In 1 year, that money will get unlocked. But look at what happened. Because all that liquidity went into bonds, nobody, in terms of the big dogs, is buying crypto anymore. And nobody knows this secret. This is how we made the most money of everybody who's been recording their trades over the last 400 days. This was the biggest fail. And we're going to go over why the old style of investing doesn't work. And you need to tune in on this secret, which we cover in detail in VIP. Right here, May, there was an FOMC meeting. Powell raises the rates 25%. That means on that bond chart, they're going to get more money for staking on 1 year. Obviously, that's bearish because they're going to start buying more bonds. Crypto banter, and thus every creator underneath him, decided that this was altcoin season. Rewind your favorite creators, the guys who you're like, this guy knows what he's talking about. This guy's smart. Go back to May of 2023. Everybody bought. Now, for the majority of their assets, they're dead even right now, particularly those legacy cryptos. Like AVAX is pretty close to where it was back in May. That's not good. We knew it would take a further tumble down, so we shorted. And then once the bottom was in, we recognized this. This is one of the reasons why Kaspa is so connected to the bond market, is so connected to this underlying secret sauce. I mean, it's blatant. It's right in your face like a sore thumb. Right here, look at these dates. June 10th, the entire altcoin market just took a severe leg down. I mean, that's a massive chunk to the downside, and it happened fast right up until that June 15th. That's an FOMC meeting. Let's go over to the Kaspa FOMC meeting chart. This is what's happening on Kaspa during those dates. From June 1st, Kaspa is just moving sideways. As that FOMC meeting starts place, the rest of the market is bleeding, going to the downside. Kaspa's ramping up. This alone, coming off of a day trading background, was a signal right there. This asset, there's something going on behind the scenes. Had done no fundamental research based on momentum, technical analysis, and this bond read alone. The total 3 in the FOMC, all in position on Kaspa, 2 cents and under. Now here's train of thought. Oh yeah. So how does this apply in making this experience yours so you own it, so you know it? You can hear something 100 times from Sunday, but unless you see it unfold in your eyes, unless it's a trade that you probably had a couple $100 on, if not a couple thousand on, you'll never fully grasp it. So one of the tricks to day trading, if any of you guys want to jump into it, it's super easy. Every real day trader who can hold their mustard trades inverse ETFs. So there's 2 charts. They both read the exact same thing. You can get QQQ and SQQQ, which is the exact backwards. It's that upside down. Utilizing the bond market, you can get a feel for whether it's going to be ramping up in a bullish fashion or we're starting to cool off. To go even a step deeper on the Bitcoin chart, look at right here, June of 2021. Powell's been raising the rates. Okay, all throughout here, this is bull market on. Everybody's buying everything hand over fist. All of a sudden, now the bond rates are at a new all-time high. In June, look what's happening on the Bitcoin chart. Oh yeah, that's when we reached the local swing low. Right there in June. The genius of Satoshi, I got to link this super chat one more time. Hold on. The genius of Satoshi to weave this in with the Bitcoin halving, that global liquidity, ensures not only is the supply going to be restricted with the halving event, but more importantly, there's an increased demand. Because what starts to happen is these bonds get unlocked. Therefore, there's yield and tons of liquid cash just got opened up. That's why Bitcoin is designed as a sponge to soak liquidity up. To show you on GameStop, just so you can get an idea, crash right there, a great example. A great example of why the crypto space on social media is completely dominated by these young Peach Fud Mafia guys with audio video skills. I had to hire professionals to build this setup for me. It's extremely complicated and also takes years of study to get right. Can you hear me, John Campioli? Can you guys hear as well? Yes. Okay, so we've got audio. So getting back to the GameStop phenomenon, GameStop itself rockets to the upside 100% based on bond unlocks. Yes, there was, of course, to top it off, the short squeeze, which added, oh, we've got the wrong cams here. Here we go. We are back, and now we have full video and audio. Once again, underlining this space in Kaspa and crypto online is dominated by people with training in audio and video, not people with trading in crypto investing. It was a whole nother skill set, twice as difficult with this audio video stuff. So look at what happens with GameStop. This is February 2021, 1 year after. What did they fail to include? The bond market. All they talked about was Melvin Capital and the short squeeze. Of course, Melvin Capital, not one of the brightest guys in the room for having a massive short position while all that money is getting unlocked for bonds. So why is everybody in crypto getting it wrong? These are smart guys. They seem to have their act together. What's wrong? It's this. It's the M2. The last cycle was completely on the fritz. It was an anomaly of a collapsing fiat system. Look what happens to the money. Just skyrocketing. It's like a 50% gain in total supply of cash. I mean, that is out there. Hence, all these strategies and tactics people have been talking about, they haven't worked. They just have not worked this cycle because they don't have the right strategies and tactics. They're just using, it's figments of their imagination. Way too much emphasis is put on the tech. The tech is important, just like the shorts were on GameStop, but thanks, Miguel, for the read back. What's really going to drive the market and what's going to make us rich? That's what we care about. We want to get rich. We want to get paid. We've already got a huge bag of Kaspa. We're looking to find out how high is this going to go and when's it going to happen. It's Satoshi's secret sauce. Realizing the connection to the bond market, that's it. That's how we can be, and remember, this is a zero-sum game, so I'm not surprised that all this information is hidden behind closed doors for people with a college education. This rabbit hole goes so deep, looking at the total 3. Inside VIP, we are able to know to the day when the altcoins were going to start to the downside. We knew August 28th to September 2nd, there was a massive bond auction. We thought because they get their checkbook out, there might be a spike in Kaspa, but ultimately downside sell-off proceeding. This is exactly what's happened, actually exceeding our expectations. So in order to find out how long this recessionary period is going to last, when's it going to turn to the upside? When is the bull market on? When should we sell our Kaspa? Make sure we're looking down the right rabbit hole. Don't waste your time studying too much details of the tech. Having an understanding of that is important, but far more valuable, and what we have far less exposure to intellectually is this concept, which we have proven across the board in detailed time frame as well as long term is extremely important. The reason why we scooped up Kaspa was because it was super reactive to bonds. The whole market was crashing. Meanwhile, Kaspa rocketing to the upside. Looking at their chart one more time, every time Powell gets out to speak about FOMC meetings, It's ripping unproportionately to the rest of crypto assets, showing us, just like Bitcoin was designed to do, Kaspa is a sponge absorbing fiat currency. Right here, we gave the 10x call out on our main channel. We didn't even have VIP. We were recording off a cell phone. Everybody who was watching the show, we said right now, 10x leverage long Kaspa. 72 hours later, the God candle formed. That was an amazing trade. We opened VIP right here off of this dip. Now, technical analysis combined with your understanding of bond market broad scale and detailed scale, that's day trading 101. As you evolve as a day trader, you just start to become a swing trader. Instead of catching every corner, closing your positions every few hours, let it run, let it ride, and you actually get more gains. We got everybody inside our VIP in on this last swing low right here, 11.5 cold. And then we started banging out leverage trades, 10x, 7x, 5x, between 12 and a quarter and 13.3. Those all survived the carry trade wick to the downside, as well as we got close to that carry trade, we recognized, look at this repeating technical analysis that's happening on Kaspa. It's the head and shoulder. It's a psychological, people, when they see patterns, they think it's geometry, it's some kind of math. It's actually a psychological pattern. These are the actions of traders. It's showing a rally to the upside, a following stronger rally, and then this third rally, which is weaker, showing that the buyers are losing control of the actions and the sellers are going to take control. We got everybody a heads up. Whoa, start setting stop losses. We got rejected and at a repeating trend line. Utilizing the fact that crypto has totally different asset than a stock because of the halvings, because of the emission schedule. This creates a vibration on the chart. That's why we're all here. We know about the Bitcoin halving, about 500 to 550 days after the halving. We know the supply is restricted. Bitcoin's going to shoot up. Now that we have the secret sauce, the global liquidity, the bond market, it's actually adding demand as well. Just getting back to the supply, the emissions, it creates repeating trend lines. The y-axis acting as support all throughout the bottom of the cup. You clone that trend line exactly, look what happens. It's actually the top of this. In a way, this is like the power law, except for instead of a globe, it's like putting it on a map. It's a different way to analyze very similar charting tactics to the power law. And then, of course, we have the repeating x-axis, and we are caught in an extremely large x-axis downtrend. This trend line right here in orange, this is key. Look at this. Holding us down here, this goes all the way back to here. It's a repeating trend line, happening over and over again. Without a doubt, this is correlated with having an emission schedules. See that? Just, it fits like a glove. It's amazing. So utilizing our knowledge in trend lines, one of the simpler aspects of crypto, it's your basics, mastering basics. That's how you win in the UFC. They're not trying to have you do some fancy arm lock. You can implement those, but it's basic punch, kicks, blocking. That's how you win. Trend lines, who would have known? They can give so much insight. The repeating trend line system in combination with classical patterns, boom. This pennant of head and shoulders, all bouncing off it. We got at least a heads up to everybody, this massive downside. And what caused the downside? Bond markets in Japan. It's the secret sauce. Because of the M2 pumped everybody's bag so hard, they've come up with their own theories. Oh, it's because of the team and the emission. That's how you get the real value in crypto. These are important factors, and we go over every single factor in the 24-point checklist system. We have this breaking down into 84 questions. You cut, copy, paste into artificial intelligence, and it will just create links, independently think. And then, of course, you can brainstorm off those 84, come up with more questions. If you guys are brand new and you're like, I'm just learning what a layer 2 is, but you know you want to get involved with crypto, you join the VIP. Every time you run into a word or a web terminology that you can't define, it's like being in high school. There's like a whole new set of slang that you got to learn. Just take the time to open up a secondary window and define the web terminology. You can teach yourself crypto. The problem is, right, there's so many rabbit holes. You can sit around and study endlessly. Who's one of the smartest guys that covers Kaspa? Kaspa Silver. He doesn't go into the depth on this content based on his own experiences. He has a different understanding, a different perception. But obviously, this can help him out immensely. For people that just joined in, look at what happened. February 2020. Bonds are like a DeFi for the rich guys. Right now, and this is about how big Kaspa is going to go, when we're going to start selling, and how rich we're going to get. Because if you're holding a big bag of Kaspa right now, 100,000 to $250,000, you're going to get rich. Here's why. This pile of cash right here, that's the last crypto cycle. You can pull up studies on CoinGlass showing an increased popularity alone in crypto, meaning more money off of this pile. Before it was 3%. Now it's going to be 10% for the market makers of their portfolio going into crypto. Look at how big this pile is, plus yield, plus compounding yield. This has been going on for 2-3 years, 5%, 3.5%, 4% compounding interest. This giant pile of cash, people oftentimes, what do they confuse the Bitcoin halving cycle with? Elections. We've all heard this. Satoshi is a genius because what he did was he paired the Bitcoin halving with presidential elections. In fact, he paired it with the global liquidity cycle, which directly correlates with the bond market. And you can go to Harvard to learn about this. I'm actually having coffee at 2 with Harvard graduates who live in this $1 million high-rise condo. Who you rub shoulders with is going to be the clique of people that you roll with. Become who you become. It's hard to find people investing in crypto. Join our VIP. You're in a $1 million tower on the Vegas Strip talking with guys who go to the World Economic Forum meetings, speak on CNBC about finance all the time. I have access to these guys. They share the wealth. They're teaching me all about this stuff. New charts that we haven't even started to share yet because I haven't unpacked it all the way. This is where I got my tutelage from in day trading. How to use the bond markets on QQ and QQSS, GameStop. Easy once applied to crypto. I somehow found Kaspa because we could see Kaspa was absorbing bond money. Later realizing the genius of Satoshi, he designed Bitcoin to do that. With the 4-year halving cycle, switching the supply while the demand increased. It's mastermind. He's a mastermind. That's why Alan Greenspan, this guy, he used to be Powell, that old guy on TV. He's thought, because of his ties into computers and Apple in the early stages of accounting, when computers were first coming out, this guy's a huge gold bug, and he's a good guy. So he may have done Bitcoin as a life raft for Western civilization. He has the power to put the team together. And because of his genius, look at that. Because of his genius, Bitcoin's become a worldwide phenomenon. Right now, the total 3 crashing, going deeper down that rabbit hole, boom, we realized exactly to the day. Exactly to the day. And it wasn't an FOMC meeting when the market was going to turn to the downside. That's insight that you just can't find online. So we had the recent massive wick ripping to the low inside VIP. We picked up 2 of the top 5 best swing trades possible. Can you imagine that? Not only did we beat everybody on YouTube for the past 450 days, we crushed them. We shorted into the bottom while they all went long, and then we bought Kaspa, wrecked them, and then we got all those beautiful 10x leverage long trades as well. Destroyed them. You're only as good as your last trade. So yeah, we called where this would bounce off, and utilizing, this is the combination. Now we could strip all these lines off of, here's a great question right here. Thoughts on miner earnings when KRC20 goes in live. We'll bring some of that into Kaspa in a second because this is important. Stripping all the technical analysis away, these repeating trend line systems, the purple trend line off of this falling wedge goes all the way back up to the top, way up there. And this y-axis line also repeats itself. You can clone it and find it all over the total 3 chart, combined altcoin market cap. Notice how it forms an apex right there. We didn't even need technical analysis to know, based on our information from the secret sauce that Satoshi weaved into Bitcoin, based on the bond market information. This is every day trader's playbook. Before you can even start buying and selling in day trading, you have to understand the bond market because you need to know, are we going to trade SQQQ or QQQQ? Are we going to go bearish or bullish? As long as you're on the right chart, you're good. You'll be okay, right? And in order to understand that, any instructor worth their mustard will show you about the bonds that we just covered in the beginning of this video. And it plays right into niche activity like this. But when we apply the repeating trend line system, we had the apex, which doubles up into the date they're selling auction. So we know for sure price is going to get busted right there. We've got technical analysis and fundamental analysis. And when we're looking forward into 2025 price peak, knowing your bonds as well as knowing your technical analysis and putting it together, that's going to help you DCA out with accuracy. People are like, oh, dude, I'm just going to DCA. My average will be fine. Everyone's going to DCA out. If you have a position right now in Kaspa, that'll be so big. Selling it in one day, you'll clear the whole book order out. You can rip yourself off. Early investors in right now today, you're DCAing out because you can't even find the liquidity. How are you going to sell $1 million on the open market in one click? Not a good idea, right? Always with crypto, chunk it out into pieces. Chunk it out into multiple wallets, etc., just for your own protection. So everyone's going to DCA. That's why our VIP group has the most knowledge and assets. We plan trades ahead. We're planning trades right now for in the future. Always planning, always looking forward. Now, there's a huge possibility with the Bank of Japan secondary carry trade. We get into that detail there. Let's start talking about the KRC20 inscriptions. What this does for Kaspa, jumping over to that chart. KRC20 is a work of genius. and the team that's put together in Casplex, they're totally different from the KII. Comparing the two together, Casplex is like your local sheriff. The KII, those guys are like J. Edgar Hoover. They're like the head of the CIA. The audio's bad. I'm getting an audio. Is the audio bad right now? Can we get a testing on the audio? Anybody say that? All right, we got a clear on audio. It's all good. Okay. So back to the KRC20 inscriptions. They put together a team, and these guys aren't big shots compared to the KII. The KII, they're power players. They're more at the world stage. They're hanging around the energy conglomerates, Shell, the central banks. They're all tied in. The team that's put together in Casplex is this. You've got Ice River Miners, OKX, an exchange, and you also have this very unique company called Rhubarb Media. Their specialty is designing logos. They're the ones that are going to create meme coin mania on Kaspa. Now, meme coin mania on Kaspa is just the tip of the iceberg, because what comes with that, this is their homepage, and you can see it's just filled with logos. That's what they do. Branding and identity. These guys are trained professionals. Web design and development, sales and media marketing. We're talking about people who went to college for demographic and psychographic studies. They know what color meme coin traders like. They know what type of images they like. Dogs, frogs, cats, robots. They've got it all figured out. They make a science of studying it. They're going to release meme coins. And with that, and this is the secret sauce, comes the utility coins on Kaspa. Like Joe for AVAX. During the last bull run, the bull run lasts for a considerable amount of time. Looking at the Bitcoin chart, we're talking about six months. I mean, it's not very fleeting. It lasts forever. And what happened during the last bull market, we're talking February 21st. Yeah, it's like a year. We're basically in a bull market for a full year in the prior cycle as those bonds are getting unlocked. Here's what's going to happen. Here's why everybody's so early. Here's how the Casplex KRC20 team is going to start kicking things up to the next level with their utility coins like Joe. Using AVAX for an example. All throughout here, everybody's seeing the gains that crypto investors just made in the stock market on the side of the road. And they're like, yeah, I'm going to get some of this action. I'm going to jump over to cryptocurrency right now. But the market's already topped out. I mean, you can't get into any of these quality projects, and people realize that to a certain extent. So what starts happening is massive degen plays, meme coins, NFT projects that if you hold it for 100 days, you get your money back and then everything else is profit. You will see the market riddled with these, and it will last for a long time. One of our projects that we have picked out is probably going to be a backbone in a lot of that. Anyway, so Kaspa, as this kicks off, for one, on Rust, everybody who's built on Solana knows Rust. So some very vetted and weathered coders can step up, and they realize Kaspa's the hot new thing. They're going to see how much Kaspa absolutely rockets to the upside once Jonathan Saplinski releases smart contracts. It's going to be off the chain. Kaspa is going to be the hottest crypto. It's gaining in popularity now. Wait until the bull run. Remember how it was on TV in Europe? High probability it'll be mentioned on television inside the United States. So everyone's going to build these degen projects on Kaspa, adding more liquidity. And with the Joe type utility projects on Kaspa, you don't have to invest in the meme coins. And this raises the fees for miners. The hash rate is skyrocketing on Kaspa right now. Rabid Miner knows his hardware well. He knows how much it's worth. He was saying, well, these are $800 priced over the top. I trust his opinion. He's a pretty smart guy. They're already starting to factor in the increased miner fees. To directly answer that question, yes, the miner fees go up through the roof. And of course, Marathon Digital, they're the ones that are really pigging out on Kaspa miners right now. Guess who owns the majority position? And they just increased it. A couple of months ago, they were in third place. BlackRock is now the majority owner of Marathon. What's BlackRock's name of their game? Climate change, carbon credits. They're using that to restrict their competitors. The tokenization of carbon credits. This is the secret sauce. This is right here. The future of crypto. Tokenization of carbon credits. So as you scroll down this document, it covers a load of concepts. The reason why they're so eager to get carbon credits tokenized is because Nico has a technical analysis question. Let me finish up my point on carbon credits and we'll get into the now. Price action. The tokenization of carbon credits opens it up to retail investors. So you're Elon Musk, you own Tesla, you're being environmentally friendly, you fell in line, you jumped through the hoops, you did the truffle shuffle for BlackRock. Now you got a bunch of these carbon credits, nobody's buying them off you. So that's hurting your business, even though you're falling in line. They can't have that. They want that business to do better than the people that are jumping around those hoops. Therefore, they want retail buying these, and they get into DeFi staking and even GameFi on carbon credits. And they talk a lot in this article about Satoshi's vision, even Bitcoin and Ethereum. We all know from the studies of the technicals, from doing our vetting, from listening to the points that Kaspa Silver makes, we know it's Kaspa. Highest probability of running this, and the KII is just proving it. They're on the front line of that. Taking a look at the Kaspa chart with the downside up and coming Nico. Okay? Y-axis is always our support. So right now we're trapped in this X-axis downtrend, and it's going to continue to pull us down until it escapes the gravitational field, Nico. This is a huge gravitational field. The gravitational field is a concept very similar to the Wyckoff charting method, where you find a stock downtrending and then it starts to move laterally. That's when you start getting the signal that a breakout's going to begin. The gravitational field, the X-axis downtrend, this is all reinventing the wheel of the Wyckoff method. We're just doing it specifically tuned in for crypto. The best way to show you this is to show you the prior downslope. Okay. So we got the prior X-axis ripping to the downside. And what we start to find is this Y-axis support, which is right here in black. Let's bring this line out. And it's not until we escape the gravitational field that we realize that the breakout is about to take place. Now, there's a lot of wicks here right now, so it's varied how you can set it up. Notice this wick here, and then this was another extensive one. This kind of was a bit of an overshot. But right around here is where we had the gravitational field. You can see in VIP, all of our leverage trade breakouts were based right around this gravitational field, crossing it. As we cross it at 12.25, we were saying, okay, now enter into a 7x leverage trade. And that was so close to the bottom, it completely dodged the BOJ wick down. And then we added onto it at 13.3 when we were well in the clear of the gravitational field and about to see considerable upside. Here's the y-axis support. Now, this all started back here at the base of the cup. This is another repeating trend line. So we use a Fibonacci pitch to correlate this. I'll bring it in for a moment. The lines and spacing that we used gave us the top measurement before it even came into play. So I'll color code this just for a second so it's more clear. So way back in the day, and you can watch some of the old videos right around the handle of the cup, right around September, late August of 2023, we had this y-axis found, dead to rights. We realized we were going to bounce off it. It actually appears somewhere else earlier in the chart. We found this y-axis as a repeating trend line. We knew all about this. Some other creators actually found this. What they failed to realize is when you place a Fibonacci tool on top of it with the most contact points, there's plenty of trend lines that you can find that will repeat. You're looking for the ones with the maximum contact points repeating. This is just in any book on how to trade, marking any trend line, not specific to our charting system. This Fibonacci pitch is the correct layout because it has the most contact points. As you can see here, here, bounces off the golden pocket. This is the bottom of the gray zone. So this was already set up in our early videos. Look what happened. When the God candle took place, it caught the exact top. So way back here, this charting system had already laid out the path, the resistance, the repeating y-axis trend line way down the road. Now, there's other ways to use the y-axis. So this is your rock bottom worst case scenario, Nico, which is what you're looking for. So this is going to run down to here. The candle's not going to go lower than this. This is your resistance. Using your x-axis, using other calendar dates, you can start to correlate different price points that will be the exact low. We could have a bullish breakout, skip out of this x-axis and end up on this higher one here, and then start taking this to the downside. The worst case scenario is here, Nico. It's 12.5. But there's a lot of other different levels. Like for here, we were holding up for a while. And this actually shows Kaspa's symmetrical triangle. Getting back to technical analysis, the symmetrical triangle is a 60-40 bearish chart. And when you read about it, you can just ask ChatGPT this. This is basic charting knowledge. The symmetrical triangle is a thermometer for the overall market sentiment, Nico. So back here, there's another symmetrical triangle. This one kind of fakes out to the downside, then breaks to the upside. What was the market sentiment here? This was the Bitcoin ETF. This was risk on, way more bullish. Here, we had kind of more fake out, ultimately breaking to the upside. And then here, what's going on now? After we were looking at the bond charts, we just had that massive bond sale on August 28th. Right here, there goes all the liquidity. So we recognize this symmetrical triangle right at its apex off of. Now, this is the difference between you just study technical analysis, classic patterns on the internet. You won't get this repeating trend line stuff. This is going to take all your TA that you've already been doing, pop, and just add a whole new level of accuracy to it. Because look at, these are the two repeating trend lines. the most dominant trend lines on the chart, Nico, and they're hitting an apex. The market sentiment is terrible right now. Thus, this symmetrical triangle will break to the downside. That's a VIP post that we made right before it broke to the downside. And we have inside there all the classical patterns on pictures that are recently happening, recent rising wedges, recent descending triangles. In a book, when you buy it, they're all old. So you can't really relate to what's happening and you don't really get the full spectrum, which is the secret sauce, the bond market, the market sentiment, what's going on. So there's different levels to it, Nico. This is the level right here. Could stop out here too. And there's a lot of other jumps and wiggles to the mean sign. If you're thinking about starting a wick down right here, we might jump back up, bounce off of this, and then continue to downtrend. And this is stuff that we're going over in detail inside VIP. I can show you guys the first layer of it, and I can show you more with our trading plans inside VIP. It's priced super friendly. It's a good value. You'll walk away with something. Not to mention, we have over half a dozen 24-point checklists. Somebody asked if I would talk about Spectral, how to vet crypto projects in correlation to their reactivity to the bond market. The reason why we picked Kaspa way back in the day was 100% because the entire altcoin market was dumping. But Kaspa was rising. And that showed us the market makers, the guys who get their checkbooks out around FOMC meetings, they know something. Then as we were digging through our research, we realized, oh, these miners are more environmentally friendly, knowing Marathon Digital is constantly getting fined. They're having a lot of problems with environmental. Right now, Kaspa's working on a new miner called the optical miner, which is going to take a photon of the atom instead of the electron, like one photon, and power the whole ASIC with that. It's like revolutionary, sci-fi, next level environmentally friendly. $10 Kaspa. How can we make such a bold claim? It's very easy, Spidey. We look at this chart right here. The prior market top was, and this is something that after my coffee meeting with the guys from Harvard who speak we're on financial TV all the time. These guys are the best in the business. They live in this $1 million condo. I'm literally going to go have coffee with them in 20 minutes. And I'm going to ask them loads of questions. They're going to show me Harvard top of the class level stuff for timing when to sell the market top and when this recession is going to be over. You're welcome, Nico. That will help you out. That's the worst case. And it's also, Nico, don't worry so much about the x-axis, which is price. Worry about the y-axis. Everybody's so trying to catch exactly how much. Try to think of when it's going to happen, without a doubt. Here's a non-believer. Kaspa will never be worth $1, never. Wake up. What he doesn't realize is that the rest of the market right now is basically even. AVAX, a lot of projects are even coming off of the last rate cut. They're not doing so hot. Kaspa has been the leading performer because Kaspa has a direct correlation to bonds. Just like Satoshi's design. When he designed Bitcoin, he used this 4-year global liquidity cycle. People think it's just a halving event, or there's rumors it's the presidential election. The presidential election is how they paired Bitcoin. No, They timed it with the global liquidity market, which works hand in hand with the bond market. All of this liquidity, Kowalski right here, check this out. February 2020. These are 1-year bonds. They stopped buying them. What happens 1 year later? February 2021. Oops, it's a coincidence. All that money from bonds poured into Bitcoin. And the reason why we can blow extremely well past $1 into potential double digits, look at the size of this pile of cash. Speaking about the elections, both sides have people on the front line ready to try to get policy in their favor to get their hands on this pile of cash. As this unlocks, it's insane wealth, and it has to go somewhere to avoid inflation. They can't just keep it in fiat. Crypto increasing in popularity. So not only are we 2.5 times bigger, 0.5% longer, we're also more popular now. More money's going into crypto than off this cycle. So this bull market is going to be off the chain. So without a doubt, whether you think Kaspa will be worth $1 or not, it's undoubtedly going to outperform anything in the top 100. You're not going to beat Kaspa. You're just not. You haven't for the past 2 years in a row. You haven't. And they're just like still a caterpillar. They haven't even upgraded to 10 blocks per second. They haven't even done smart contracts yet. Once they spread their wings, and all of the Kaspa deniers have no clue what the bond market is. I can guarantee you that. They never talk about it on their show because they think they know it all because the money got printed last cycle. Every tactic method that they've been using, even some of the greats that I respect a lot, like Crypto Banter, they were all loading the bags right here. Just every Kaspa footer, you can go back in time. They were loading up whatever altcoins they were getting right here. Clueless about Satoshi's secret sauce. When you know about it, not only do you time the bottom, not only did you know to a science when the altcoin market was going to turn down in VIP, we said August 28th. We're also going to sell the top exactly, but we realized Kaspa is ultimately receptive to the bond market as the rest of altcoins are crashing right here in early June. What's Kaspa doing? It's rocketing. It's just rocketing, which is following Satoshi's vision. All right, guys, I've got to get going because I have a very important meeting with some guys from the World Economic Forum. Thank you so much for checking out this live stream. We will catch you on the next one.